Hey everybody, welcome back to the awesome channel. Today we have a very special guest, one of my best friends. Her name is Skye Conway. You may have seen her on the channel before. She's been on to share how raw foods saved her life, changed her life, and also she did a grape fast in the past as well, and she was on to share those results. And today she is on a juice cleanse. She has done almost 1 month, day 29 right now, which is pretty epic. And I've been following her on Instagram and her posts. I can literally just feel the happiness, the high vibes, and the amazingness of this experience oozing through her photos. So it's like, I have to have her on. So, hey, Skye, how's it going?
It's good. Thank you for that introduction. And that introduction sums up exactly kind of where I'm at. Like, I feel high vibe. I feel amazing.
Yeah, you look amazing. You were glowing. So, day 29, has this been an easy journey? And what led you to start a juice fast?
Okay, so I, as you know, got well with raw foods 2.5 years ago. And then I just got better and better. And then last year, I started to notice I wasn't doing as well. I was still running Pilates, running my business, but I just wasn't feeling my best. And I noticed some hair breakage, just getting tired. And so I started to add things back in because in my raw diet, had a very light diet. You know, there was nothing processed, basically just from a fruit and vegetable store, fresh. So I started adding in like salt, and that would help a bit. And then I'd crash out a bit, and then I'd add in nuts, and then that would help a bit, but not enough. And then I ended up at the end of last year in November getting shingles. Now, when I had shingles 5 years ago, and I'd been really sick most of my life, is I got really sick after the shingles. Like it's like I got a functional neurological disorder where I couldn't walk and talk. I couldn't, it was like having chronic fatigue. I had digestive issues, depression, anxiety, in hospital for those. So when I got shingles, though it was painful, I could barely eat at the time. So I was having a lot of fruits, a lot of just like watermelon and things like that to get through. But going through that, I actually did notice when I was eating things like salads or something, when I had the shingles at that stage, the next day I could not get up.
Wow.
Anyway, yeah. So I guess I was just getting through the shingles, but as I was coming out of it, so after about a month of shingles, because shingles can take a while to heal, I started to
Mhm.
notice I was getting massive histamine intolerances. So if I had a high histamine food, which is like the best foods, like bananas, avocados, papayas, I'd
Mhm.
just break out in a rash. And these symptoms were similar to the 5 years ago after the shingles. My stomach would swell. What else would happen? I would just be tired all the time. And I did notice if I had lighter foods like the watermelon for the whole day, I could do a bit of washing and stuff. If I added in a salad or something, it seems like I could barely get out of bed.
Wow.
So, and yeah, so I had tried juicing in the past, and because I'm missing my stomach, my duodenum, and top of my intestines, is I have dumping syndrome. So you eat or drink something and it doesn't sit in the gut, it goes into the intestines. So if I was having juices, it would create a blood sugar spike because there's nothing to kind of drip feed it into the intestines, and that
Mhm.
would cause dizziness, diarrhea. So I never really went towards the juicing.
Yeah.
But after the shingles, my symptoms were, my stomach, I'd literally eat one thing and you could taste it. I'd get GERD again, which is gastroesophagus reflux disorder, which I'd had in the past, all these old symptoms. And my stomach would swell and then it would go through me undigested. Like I'd look in the toilet and it wouldn't be digested. So
Mhm.
I'm like, it just makes sense to try and juice these things. So by about a month and a half in, I'm adding juices in with still eating, and I'm still not settling too well with the juices, but I'm not getting much better. Like I get up for like my dad's birthday, but then I get pot symptoms. So I get like dizziness, not feel well. So it got to this point where I kind of was like, I've got to try juicing. Like I just have to. And truly, Gillian, by the end of the first day, like when I got in the shower the next day, and I was doing mostly greens because I was also getting candida and swelling, just the sweet juice would cause, or too much sweetness I was noticing was causing like itchiness in the throat and ears and swelling. So
Mhm.
truly by the first day of juicing, the next morning in the shower, I had my hands on my hair. I'm like, oh my God, my hair's not falling out as much. Like, I don't know whether there was any. And I'm like, I'm standing upright. I'm like, this
Wow.
is really work. Like it was just, and then this is how I always know. It's like with the grapes, I know when something's going to work because each day, like you have moments, but I feel better general, like this general sense of well-being. And then I did a post on New Year's Day, which had been 4 days of juice. And
Mhm.
I'm up, I'm walking, I spent the day like doing some reading, like it's just, and I've just built from there. So I guess you asked, is it difficult? And I think each time I've done something like this, like you mentioned the grape fast before, and I'm doing this now, is you've got to think of why you're doing it.
Mhm.
So if it was, my why was so big, where I was 5 years ago after shingles can't happen again. And how good I was feeling on the juice and realizing like not having a stomach, I can get calories, nutrients in and feel really, really good. And what I noticed is as I was having the juices, what I think happened for me, and I think it happens for a lot of people, is especially me with gut issues, is what had happened to get the shingles is things when I get well, and it happened a few years ago when I get well, is to live on this earth and exercise and work, you've got to eat a lot of calories, right? As you get
Mhm.
well, especially with foods. Now, if I don't have the storage area, it's not that I was constipated, but it was like things started to like block up or not get through me properly. And then what feels like happens is that overflows to the liver and kidneys. And then I start to get rashes, histamine intolerances, hair breakage. So
Mhm.
once the juice is kind of relieved the gut and pushed things through, it was like my whole system just calmed. Also, I just want to mention while I think of it is before I got shingles, I was running and not sweating. Like I could run 5 kilometers and I'd just swell. And I noticed by about day 5 or 6, the most horrible smell came out of me as if everything kind of unblocked. Like it was seriously like once one part of my system went down, the whole
Mhm.
system kind of follows and the juice clearing. But back again, so I have found the juicing to be a pleasure, but also difficult because I will say it feels great to not be having like the digestion, especially with no stomach. But at the same time, I think the best I've ever felt is when you have whole foods.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? Like, I guess
That
it's
makes
because it's
sense.
natural. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and I mean, you got to get up and do a lot of juicing, right? So you got to get up
Mhm.
and spend a lot of time. So there's that as
Yeah.
well. But besides that, it's been like I love it. I'm so grateful for this. Like I feel like, I was talking to you and I'm like, Gillian, I'm still not out of bed. And you're like, no. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then now I'm like up.
Yeah, you look it's totally working. I love it. You are glowing. You are glowing as much as anybody could possibly glow. Like,
Oh,
that's a
I love
fact.
hearing
And you look so fit and so healthy. And isn't it crazy how quickly it can sometimes work for some people? Like, this happened with me. I forget if it was like 1 or 2 years ago. I had long COVID.
that.
And it was really bad, like, you guys, to the point where I thought I had MS. I'm not even kidding. It was really bad. Like, I couldn't even move. I was like, "What is happening? I'm so healthy. Like, what is even going on?" I was like, "Am I all wrong about everything here? Like, what is happening? How do I go from feeling so good to this?" And I went like, I had a few emergency room visits, and they were like, "You have long COVID. We're seeing a lot of this. We can't tell you how long. We think a lot of people are gonna have this for 1 or 2 years, but we can't there's nothing we can do. Go home and rest." I was like, "What?" So I was like, "Maybe I'll water fast," but I was like, "Before I water fast, because I've never done that, and it doesn't sound super I wanna live my life, you know?" So I
I'm
tried
like
the
that.
juice
Yeah.
fast, and by, like, day 3 or 4, I think it was, I forget what day, I was, like, completely better than ever, and it was a hu even my family members were like, "Whoa, this is crazy." So, I mean, obviously, go see your doctor, consult your doctor and everything, but for me, it worked amazing, and for you, this is what a transformation. And has it had, like, other benefits? Have you noticed, like, other like, I know some people feel really spiritual on a juice fast or a lot of other things, like, what are some of the benefits?
So benefits, like I feel like all of these things health wise just came over me where I just started feeling like this overwhelming sense of well-being. But at the same time, yes, very, very connected to myself. I may mention this. So I promised myself this year I would start journaling every morning. And it's turned into this. So that was started on the first day of the new year. And that was day 4 of juicing. Now,
Yeah.
when you juice, it is so when you manifest, you need your mind, your conscious mind to believe everything's already yours, right? So I started by writing like goals and things, and it's just turned into like rewriting my entire life. And I feel juicing is this massive part of that. I feel to have the electricity running through my body, have my brain like working, it just, everything kind of falls into place. I actually, the last couple of days, Gillian, have felt like a teenager. Now, I was pretty sick when I was younger, but there was a period where I wasn't. And
Mhm.
I felt like down the beach, very free. There's also a huge component that you lose this addiction to eating or needing food. Like it's this retraining and this settling. And I come from a huge addictive background where I was on massive amounts of painkillers. And I think just as society as a whole, we're all kind of drawn to like high dopamine things. Once you take out that chewing and thinking of food, you just kind of free. Like you really just
Yeah.
experience life. And I will say I'm having nut milks or seed milks, and that totally changed the game for me as well. Like I did the juicing up to like day 19 of just greens and sweet juice. And then I wasn't feeling as great. Still not as sick as I was, but wasn't feeling as great. So I just had this calling that I needed omegas and possibly even some protein. Because remember,
Mhm.
my body has been kind of, well, it was clogged and now it felt like everything was going in. I swear, once I put that hemp seed milk in that night, especially because I have ADHD and that had flared up from everything flared up from the shingles. It just calmed. And then I tried walnut milk, and that's high histamine, but it just kept helping. And since doing that, it's like this whole other level. So
Wow.
that's helped as well. It's like I find the way I'm doing it works for me. Like I'm doing the sweets, the greens, and the nuts. And I couldn't do just sweets or I couldn't do just greens. Like I need to have my combination
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah. Well,
So
that's good. See, everybody just has to listen to their body, because I think on my 37 days, I tried to add in some nut milks and I didn't feel as good, but they make you feel good. So I think it's good to
yes,
listen to your body. And if they can work, then what a great journey having the juices and the milks.
that's right. And I actually had at the start, and I can't have vegetable juice at the moment. So
Mhm.
I can have nut and I can have fruit and I can have greens, but the vegetable starch from things like carrots and beetroot seems to at the moment irritate me. And when I first started, because, and I know a lot of people suffer with this and struggle with juicing with the candida, and I found non-sweet green juice was just brilliant. It doesn't taste the best, but it's, you got to get to that stage where you can get like sweet juice in to get the calories, because if you don't have
Mhm.
the calories, you kind of don't feel so great. So
Yeah.
I only took a few days and then I could have a little bits of the sweeter juices.
Yeah.
So it's like evolution through the juices.
What an and did you think you were gonna go this long? Or it hasn't been like that, right? Some people are like, I'm gonna do 90 days and this is that. You're just kind of like, let me play it by ear and see what happens, right? See how it is.
Yeah, I always do that. So first off, I would say I did not know how long I would last. I didn't know how long I would go, and I don't like to put numbers on it because I like the feedback from my body. I don't like going, you have to do this. Whereas I like to just, if I start feeling really unwell, I want to have the freedom to just not be like, no, but I'm going to make it this day, this amount of days, is just keep getting the feedback. I do feel like it will go a long time based on the fact that I know I look really well and I feel well and I've healed so much of what was going on. But I've noticed my gut is still reactive. And I do think if you're just having juices, I should get to a stage where my stomach is constantly flat.
Mhm.
Um, it's just, I noticed that it's just sensitive. Everything became very sensitive with the shingles.
Mhm.
And and I think as well, because once you're on it, I mean, I'm not going to stop now, if there's more to keep going, I will do that. But if I start to feel like I'm deteriorating in any way, like not feeling optimal, I will
Yeah.
definitely start to bring in foods.
That's good. That makes complete sense. And I know you've been like super committed. I think even when you started, you didn't even have a juicer, right? I saw some of your reels. You didn't have a juicer. So
That's
talk about
right.
commitment. Like,
Yeah.
so for somebody who doesn't have a juicer who's watching, how can they get started? And then you did get a juicer. You got the Nama, I think, right? And
Yes.
it's the best. I'll put a
Yeah.
code down below if
It
you guys
is.
want one. I haven't talked to you about it. You like it? It's really good, right?
I love it. It's definitely, do you know what? It's definitely so much easier, but at the same time, it's quite possible and it's not that hard to do it without.
Yeah. So how
It's
did you do it? Were you doing them in a blender?
So the best way to do it is you can't, there's certain juices you can't do, like you can't get into the mangoes and papayas or things like that because you're using a nut milk bag. So things like watermelon, honeydew melon, you just blend it in the blender. It's quite simple. And then you pour it through a nut milk bag. The only frustrating part is you got to squeeze it kind of through the nut milk bag. But when you use the watery fruits, so I at the start I was using watermelon. It wasn't that difficult. And then the harder one was when I was doing the green juices, which was right at the start.
I
And
don't know
because
how you juice green juices without a juicer. But
so I just blended them and I had, so there was cucumber in there was celery, there was parsley, there was coriander, and then you pour it through, but getting that through the nut milk bag is a lot of effort. But I guess I didn't want to go out and, I've had a juicer in the past. It was the same one as you used to have. And there's, to me, no point. Like that thing in the other side would just dump most of the fruit
I
and
used
juice
to
would
think
just,
that juicer was great. Like when I first started my channel, that was the juicer I was using. And I thought it was great until I got the Nama. And then I was like, oh, wow, I can't make a juicer in that other juicer anymore because the other juicer creates a lot of
yeah,
foam in the juice, so much leftover
yes,
pulp. I don't know. It's just
yes.
a lot of craziness compared to the newer juicer, the Nama.
Yeah. So I used to do that and I used to look and I'd be like, I've spent all this money on the fruit and most of it's coming out into the bucket. Like it's not coming out as
Yeah.
juice.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I got rid of that. And look, if you use a nut milk bag to juice, you will get so much juice. If you just squeeze that through.
No,
Said you, I'm
even
like that woman with the
before
wine,
I got
sipping
my
on grapes.
Nama, I used to make watermelon juice in my blender, and I didn't even with watermelon, I found I didn't even need a nut milk bag. I would just blend it up on high speed and then
Yeah,
pour it through a strainer, and then it was good to go. But maybe with some of the other
that's
ones,
what I
but you
did.
could that's what I always used to do, and it turns out just like juice. But
Yeah.
so like the universe can see you're committed. Like I don't know anybody, you have been really committed making these juices, the green juices, even without a juicer and stuff. So I just feel like it's such a spiritual experience too, doing a juice fast. Have you had like any aha moments or like major messages that have come to you or things you realize you want to change with your life? Because I know people get so clear headed during this experience. There's such a huge connection
Sure.
between like our gut and our brain. And lots of times people are like, oh, I realized I'm supposed to leave my husband, or I realized I'm supposed to have a different career, or I
Wow.
realized I want to do this with my life. I notice a lot of this or I had like this aha moment with this, or has any of that taken place up to this point, or not really?
Okay, first off, I feel like a completely different person. To the Skye that ate raw foods, to the Skye that had shingles, I feel like a completely different person. What I do find being on the juice is if it's not in alignment with you, you can't push through. Like anything in my life, I guess my work life's changed. I will only do, it's kind of like it has to be a passion now. And it just feels like the more I follow my passion, the more the universe just keeps pushing me up. And that didn't happen before. There was still anxiety around it, but I wasn't aware because I was doing so much better than I had been in the past. Now it's like, just do your heart, Skye, follow your heart, and the universe just surrounds that. But that comes back to like, I feel so good every morning. The first thing I do is get up and do this journaling. And I feel like that has helped me along the way so much. But I also feel like I wouldn't have committed to it without the juice. Like, you know how
Mhm.
you try things and I'll do it, today I'm not going to get up and do it. I feel like the juice just lifts everything to a new level. That's what it does. It just lifts you. As for aha moments, it's more like I feel so supported by the universe. Like you
Wow.
just feel like as I go through this, it's just, you just follow, as long as you follow your heart, you're going to feel good. The other thing I wanted to mention is I drink a lot of coconut water on the, like I drink a lot
Mm.
of coconut water anyway because it hydrates me like nothing else hydrates me. But on this, I find that juicing can dehydrate me. And I think it's because if you eat fresh fruit, a lot of the fluid is held in cells, like in the gut for a period of time, which is slow absorption. But especially, I don't have a stomach. So I drink
Mhm.
it and a lot of it just goes straight through. So I have been, and it is expensive here to get that much coconut water, but there I could have up to 8 or 10 coconuts a day. So that's like up to 4 liters just over the period of the day to support the juice. So that's like max. Some days it's only like 2 liters, but a lot, it just is, and it's back to that. What I was saying is you have to do what supports you. And I know a lot of people are like,
Mhm.
I don't have the money to have that much juice. And I know that when John, do you remember when John did the 236 days on the
Mhm.
juices?
Yeah.
And he was saying the best way to go into it is you've got to have the money to have what you need because you can't undernourish your body. If you're feeling
Mhm.
thirsty, your
True.
body, water is saying you've really got to go in and go, right, I need the pineapple, I need the watermelon, I remember him saying that. So,
Yeah, because I feel like on a
um,
juice cleanse, overall, you're meant to feel amazing and not, like, run down
yeah,
and tired and cranky like a lot of people think, and if I'm not consuming enough juice, like, even if I just were to do 4 of these a day, that's not enough for me, but I know that's enough for some people, like this size, 4
sure.
32 ounce. So I think, to
Yeah,
me, this secret is, like, feasting, not fasting, consume enough, listen to your body like you've done, like, you're like, "I'm gonna stop if my body tells me to," or I incorporated the nut milks or things like that.
yeah,
And the coconut water, like, that's a key for me on any juice cleanse too. Like, I did the 37 days once and a few 14 days or whatever. I think a 7 day, a few random ones. 37 was my longest, but coconut water is just key for me. It really makes a difference. I buy them by the cases, crack them open,
yeah.
put them in the mason jars in the fridge, and they just really help with the
Oh,
juice fasting a lot, right?
they do. And I guess it makes sense, right? It's like nature's little bowl of water. Before I went on this, before I got shingles, is I would run and do Pilates every morning, and afterwards I'd have to have about a liter of coconut water. It's like the best electrolyte. It was like nothing. Once you understand the hydration of fresh coconut water,
Yeah.
it takes your whole life to a new level. You'll be like, that's hydration, right?
Yeah, and which I just feel such a difference in you. I mean, you're naturally such a high vibe, happy, amazing person anyway, but I do feel like you're on another level. Would you
Oh,
say this has
really?
been one of the best experiences of your life or not really?
Yes. I'm glad you asked that.
Yeah.
It probably is. It feels like, I guess the biggest thing that just came to my mind is to have my gut the way it feels right now. I feel like, and many people were like this, even before my stomach was removed, is I struggled from a young age with gut issues. And to have something that is not stressing it out all the time, but at the
Yeah.
same time, it's not to the extreme of water fasting where, see, when I heal, I need to, my guide is how good I feel. So if I start to go, like, there's difference between having like a release or, having a temperature rise, but they come and go. If I start to kind of deteriorate, that's my navigational cue that what I'm doing isn't working. So I really love that I'm feeling so good and that my gut is just getting happier every day. And look, I have a massive scar on the middle of my stomach. And so if my stomach swells and that scar goes all the way in, it
Mhm.
kind of splits. Like it's so uncomfortable to have it this eased. It's just everything feels like it's in flow. So,
Wow.
but yeah,
I
it
love
it
this.
is. It's just, yeah, it truly, this is probably one of the most life-changing, besides like literally healing myself with the raw foods. I mean, that is just unbelievable. But this is like, I feel like that healed me 2.5 years ago. Like the raw foods totally gave me this amazing life. And now it's like, I feel like I'm in this dream world where I'm just creating all the dreams and living my dream life now.
Oh my god, you're making me wanna do another juice cleanse. I just like you get so clear-headed and so connected and
Me
so creative
too.
and just like all the blocks of obstruction and all the resistance leave and you take action more and thoughts come to you and you're on a higher
Yeah,
frequency. Those are the things I love about it the most. Like, obviously, if I've had health problems and it's reversed that, that's been great and priority, but just the spiritual aspect to me is just like top level, like nothing else out there. Better than any drugs, better than any alcohol. Just you reach your higher,
true.
it's
I
really
I always find with the raw foods is, and we're talking about it now, we're talking about like the how high vibe and how good you feel is, it's like people go into diets and lifestyles to cure like something.
Mhm.
But what I noticed when I healed all those years ago, and when I did it with the grapes and did it again, is very quickly every symptom just drops, and all of a sudden you're like a completely, what you're
Yeah.
actually living for is like the high vibration, the feel good, the getting up, the exercising, the friends. You forget that you were sick, like as in it's not the, and like you're even saying it now. You're not even saying, it did help me, when you were really unwell. I remember with long haul COVID,
Mhm.
but you're like, I love how it feels and I'm clear headed. And I think that's a great navigational guide for people to know what's working for them too. You should feel
True.
good.
I agree 100%. And have you felt good the whole time? Have you had moments where you thought of quitting? Like in the beginning, the first few days or stuff? Did
Yes.
you and how did you get through those moments? Like how to stay on track if you want to stay on track during those tough moments?
Okay. So I live by myself and I'd been sick, and I felt better, but there were times where in the first few days where you just want to eat. So I just drank as much as I could, rested a lot. I used sound at the start a lot, like frequencies, which could really, especially when you're on the juice, really just calm you. And I
I've been
just kept
hearing a
telling
lot about
myself,
that lately. Sorry, go ahead. We can talk
so
about that
good.
after.
Yeah, they're really, really good. So I was just all of what I noticed is when you do juice and raw foods as well, is you can really tap into using like essential oils or frequencies. They really do help. And I
Mm,
think what kept coming through my mind is you're going to get through today, and before you know it, it'll be tomorrow. Like, just you don't have to do anything, Skye. You can just lay there. And I mean, I know I came from being very sick, so it's different, but I think I would struggle if I had been working, as in had a busier mind in those moments, because it gets easier to want to grab something. I think people need to remember it's okay to go lay down. And
mhm,
I work from home, so not that I was working at the start, but I just kept it's I kept telling myself it's that self-love. Like, if you need to just sit in nature, that's what you're going to do. If you need to just lay for an entire day and just breathe, just do that. You're going to get through this. I knew it was the right way to do it, but I will say the first 3 days, you are going to want to eat or chew, or it's very normal to have that, but it does pass. By day 3, you're not really, I can't say I've actually been hungry. Things come over me,
mhm.
but I haven't been like, what I know as hungry. So
Yeah, and that's pretty accurate for me too. It's usually day 4. I'm like, "Okay, now I'm starting to feel good." It's usually takes like that
yeah,
many days, I feel like, to adjust, and it's not that long, and you can so the
no.
sound frequency, I keep hearing the sound frequency stuff from people lately. Someone else was talking about this today. Is this like yeah, I hear sounds are really healing. There's certain things we can listen to. Do you get them off
Yeah.
of YouTube? Is it just YouTube you listen to them?
Yeah, so there, I use the Schumann frequency, which is like a resonance frequency that the whole earth pulses at. It's something to do with there's like electricity in the air, and it kind of comes down and creates a heartbeat on the earth. And what they found with humans, there's lots of different frequencies for healing, right? But I
Mhm,
use this one. So what you find with people, and I have a grounding mat, which I swear by, is
mhm.
when somebody, and you think about when I get well, is I was outside all the time with my shoes off when I was healing. Think about when you feel good as a child, you're connected to the earth. You find as you disconnect from the earth, people get sicker, disconnected, their brains aren't as centered. So these sounds, you can even, if kids get like an injury, you should take their shoes off, put them on the earth. They will, it's like that heartbeat. So that's the frequency I like to use. You get them off YouTube. I can
Mhm.
send you a link if you want to link it below. There's one, and I've given it to mum. Even mum said it's like no other. It's just from YouTube. It's incredible. I've tried lots, and it's just free, and it's like it's a 3-hour one. I go to sleep every night with it,
Oh,
and
so you
I
listen
that's
to it
another
as you
thing.
fall asleep. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's another thing. I've been my sleep since juicing, where before I had the nut milks, it was like being like in this dream state all the time. Once I got the nut milks in, I have not slept like that since I was a child. I am just
Wow.
having the most incredible sleeps, but I do use that sound, and it's really, really helping me. Like it's really great.
What a great thing to fall asleep to, you know? And
Yeah.
you were talking about this grounding mat. So tell me more about this because you were leaving me some voice notes telling me about this, and this really inspired me. This might be something good for someone like me who lives in the city, can't get into nature as much. Is it something you can
Yeah.
use right at home that makes you feel like grounded?
So But okay, I like to compare it like this. So I don't like, I got well with the raw foods, and I've told everybody it's like the raw foods, like everything
Yeah.
extra. Yeah. Once I
Yeah.
put that grounding mat on my bed, so I'd had like mental health issues in the past. I get restless legs. I had trouble sleeping. I'd had PTSD, and I didn't realize until I put that mat on how good I can actually feel. And so it's a grounding mat, and it connects to the earth. Basically, we should all be sleeping, and back to that Schumann frequency, right? Is we should all be sleeping on the earth and be in sync. Like, every woman should be cycling with the moon, but we're all disconnected. And that mat, and I got so excited about it. I bought one for my mum and my dad. Now, my dad is someone who doesn't believe in like, he's like, you go to a doctor when you're sick. He's like that type of person, right?
Mhm.
He he's like, "Skye, I sleep through the night. This is incredible." He's like, he's older. He usually gets up, goes to the bathroom a lot. He's had other like doesn't like just but his mood is so much better. Mum has Lyme's. she's up, but she's changed a lot of her life. She's like, I feel so much better. That staticness that's in your head just calms.
Wow.
I think it is next to raw foods for me. It is like I always, when I'm coaching people, I'm always like, if you're not well, try this. Yeah, I'm like,
And this is because I have an acupressure mat. You can't see it. It's over here, the Prana mat one, which I love. I'll link that down below. But when I take the time to do that, oh my God, it's like I had a 1 hour massage, but it's different than that, right? It's not an acupressure mat.
yeah. So what actually happens is if you think, an electrical socket, how it has 3 prongs,
Mm-hmm.
like you can, so the top 2 are metal and the bottom one is grounding. So it's literally just so like electricity doesn't arc or like catch fire and stuff. Everyone's electrical points are connected to the earth at the
Mm-hmm.
same time. So what this mat does is you lay it out on your bed, and I think it's got copper in it. I'm not sure exactly what's in it, threaded through it. Each one's a bit different, but you plug it in and the top 2 prongs are plastic. So you're not using electricity. And then there's one that connects, the metal one connects to just the grounding from
Wow.
our
Okay.
electricity.
Will you
Yeah.
send
So
me
that's how
this?
that works.
I'm gonna get one.
Yeah.
Will you send me the link? And then I'll link it down below for
Yes.
anybody who wants to get one. Cause yeah, you've been talking to me about this in the voice notes, and now I'm really interested. And you're just on a high frequency. So whatever's working for you. And that's why I like to have you on.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like you're so clear-headed at this stage too. You can really speak the truth. And we are blessed to have you on day 29. And I want to ask you too, so
Oh,
what has your protocol looked like? Take us through a day in the
sure.
life on Skye's Juice Fast and exactly how much you've been drinking and maybe some of your favorite recipes.
Okay. So at the moment, I will get up and I'll have coconut water. I do find from the nut milks and the seed milks the night before, I'm a little bit drier.
Hmm.
So I love to just have that coconut water. I will have a little bit of like celery juice, not much. It kind of like just grounds me a little bit. It may only be like 200 mils. Then I will go in to the sweet juices all at once. Now, mostly it's grapes. So I've mostly, because it's grape season, so I've mostly been having these like biodynamic grapes and juicing those. And I'm finding I still struggle with the sweet juice because if I have too much, I can get the candida still. But I
Hmm.
love the feeling of it. I love the fuel. So the sweet juice will be in the middle of the day. So in the morning, it's like 1 to 2 liters of coconut water, a little bit of celery, and then I'll do up to 3 to 4 liters of sweet juice in the middle of the day. In the afternoons, I was having my green juice, which was celery, parsley, cucumber, and coriander. But I haven't needed those as much now. I may just have a little bit of that. And at night, I'm having about a liter of nut milk and seed milk. So usually I'll have it's about 400 mils of, and I mix coconut water with hemp seeds. I do it in the blender, blend that, then strain it through a nut milk bag. Tastes like a vanilla milkshake. And then
Wow.
as I'm getting close to bed, I will have maybe not as much, maybe it's only about 700 mils. I'll have about 300 mils of walnut milk. And maybe I'll add a couple Brazil nuts in there to get selenium in. Because remember, I never
Mm.
ate nuts for 2 years, but I
No.
knew I needed more. So this is my body's just loving it. I'm like loving
And
that.
are you making your nut milks fresh in the Nama? Because you can do that in there too. Have you been doing that? I can't remember if I've
So
seen that in the
I
stores.
haven't because I don't know. To me, if I make it in the Nama, like literally how I make my nut milks and seed milks is for the hemp milk. It's just 2 big
Oh yeah, you can
tablespoons.
blend it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think if I put 2 tablespoons in the Nama,
Mhm.
it'd get a bit.
Mm.
So you blend it, you can use water, coconut water, and then it's literally when that goes through the nut milk bag, if you've soaked the nuts, it's quick. It's not, it just is, it's truly, it takes me, the easiest part of my day is the nut milk part. You just
Yeah.
blend, stir the
I
bag.
forgot how easy, and especially with hemp seed
So
milk, it is so easy to
yes.
make and it's actually so delicious. It's
Oh,
really good and really beneficial. Well, wow, this has
you
just
need
been
to
such
try.
an experience, huh?
You need to try it with coconut water, fresh coconut water. Coconut water and hemp seed. It tastes like a vanilla milkshake.
Yeah, I
It's
do.
so good.
And have you had any detox? You know, people say like any detox symptoms as far as like emotional or physical detox?
Sure. So I have had, especially at the start, lots of old waste coming through. I still get moments where parasites come out,
Wow.
and mucus, but what else have I had? I have like quick temperature rises, but it couldn't be more than 40 minutes. tiredness. But since I've added the nut milks in, I haven't had as many symptoms, and I feel a lot more. At the start, I could get very lightheaded easily. That's not happening anymore. Not too bad anymore. I feel like at the start, you've already got a lot in you. You're kind of flushing that out.
Mhm.
So
Wow.
yeah.
Well, I wonder how long this is gonna go on. I love it. I love seeing you on this journey.
I love it too. And I think I mentioned to you before is even when I come off, I will still be juicing most of the day. Like it'll be probably like juice and then like a meal in the afternoon, a little bit of fruit, and maybe even try and add in smoothies. I was never great with smoothies, but I think now feeling how good your gut can feel when it's not stressed is just
Mhm.
great.
That's a huge thing. That's what I love the most. If I do like a mono fruit cleanse or a juice cleanse, just the way my gut feels in my stomach and
Yeah.
wow. Well, is there anything else you want to share? Maybe any common questions you've had, do you think that we haven't covered or anything else you want to share about your journey?
So a lot of people ask about the mucoid plug.
Mm,
And like and this is my theory with it is I have seen bits and pieces come out, nothing like you see, those
yeah.
shots that you see online. But I also have a theory that most of the people I ask about those shots, they usually
Mhm,
use bentonite clay with it. So I think
mhm.
sometimes a lot of it is all kind of mixed up in that.
Yeah.
So there's that. Also, a lot of people do struggle with histamine intolerance who are on raw foods because a lot of raw foods do have high histamine. And I will say, just having my non-sweet green juices on this journey has just really helped that. Helped with candida as well. And if you do want to go on this to help with high histamine and candida, please know that start with the greens, but don't discount the sweet juices, as in as you go along, have one a day, try adding in more and just see what your body can tolerate. The other thing I wanted to mention is since doing this, and I was never great with skincare or makeup or hair products, even natural ones, I just couldn't
Mhm.
tolerate anything.
Yeah,
The
I
past
know.
so much better. So I can use little bits of things. Mum's detergent, usually I'd be set off. Like I'd get like this, it's like this anxiety, my brain and headaches. And
Wow.
mum brought over something with a bit of a smell on it. And I could smell it and I didn't like the smell, but it didn't set me off. So there's a lot of calming that's going on my journey.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love
And
this
if you're
journey.
thinking,
Yeah, go
like
ahead.
if somebody's thinking of doing it, do it. Like if you feel the calling, I think that's right, Gillian, right? If you feel the calling, you've got to
Mhm.
feel called
You
to it to
definitely
do
do.
it.
Yeah, you have to feel called to do it. Your heart has to be there, I think, versus
Yeah.
being like, "Oh, I don't know." Like, you have to feel the
Yeah.
calling. And then it can be amazing experience. It was the best experience of my life, the 37 days, and this is up there with one of the best of your life, I think now just in 29 days. So think
That's
somebody
right.
watching who feels inspired to start this, just think if they're feeling like crap right now, standard American diet, or still just feeling like crap with some issue, think how quick you could possibly turn that around, right? It's just incredible.
That's right. I mean, if you do decide to do it, follow my steps or what I did if you feel inspired by the fact that I follow what I need. If you need vegetable
Mhm.
juices, have your veggie juices. You do because otherwise, like how I see it, Gillian, is I am basically doing the raw diet just in liquid. Like if I did need veggies or I will try putting them back in. Like, if I was feeling like a salad, I just have the green juice. I kind of see it like that. And
True.
also, please, I feel like when you go on it is make sure you feel good. Like don't push yourself through something where you're feeling worse and worse and worse.
True. Well, you are looking good. You're just so magnetic right now. You're just so magnetic, Sky. And okay, do you have any closing words for anybody watching who might be going through a hard time? Because you have been there. You have been there with the lowest of lows in life and you are shining. You are thriving right now. So, do you have any advice for somebody watching who might be going through a hard time? Any inspiration, anything that comes to mind? And also let everybody know where they can find you. You have a great Instagram. Go follow Sky. I will link it down below. She's one of my best friends. She's amazing. And she has a great YouTube channel. I will link that as well and her website with all her ebooks and everything she offers.
Okay. Oh, thank you for that. What I would want to say is no matter where you are, the one thing you need to do is love yourself. The gate to healing is love. If to have juice, you need to love yourself like you never knew. To get up and put juice through a juicer and put that through your body when everybody else in the world is doing something different. And that's a big pull, but you've got to love yourself enough to do that. If it's raw foods, that's the calling. you do that, but it all starts with love. Like you need to tell yourself, and I don't know whether I've ever mentioned this before, but when I got well within, I got onto the raw foods within the first 3 weeks, I think I told myself I loved myself more than I had in my entire life. And I
Wow.
constantly and always, and even journaling about love, and that is critical. So as much as all of this helps, love and
That's
connecting with
everything.
nature as well. It
Yeah.
is.
And have people been supportive of the people around you in your life there? They've been supportive. Have they noticed, wow, Skye,
Yeah.
like this is working for you?
Well, that's the thing, right? It's like that when I went on the raw foods is you can't not be supportive. I was literally in bed sick again. And now I'm like up and my hair's growing. In actual fact, you'll find this funny. The first time it was like day 5 or 6, I went over to my parents' house and I walked in and they both looked at me and they go, "What happened to your boobs?" Because I think, what do you mean? And they're like, they're just like out there. And I think I just like, you hydrate. Everything kind of just came to my hair, my nails. They're like, look at you. So how can they not support me when I'm like, everything's kind of just blossoming?
Love it. At 41, right? You're the same age as me, right? You're 41. I love it. Such an inspiration. You are looking better than ever. Honestly,
Oh,
I love you. And I want
I
to thank
feel
you for
good.
coming on to share your
I love
story.
you.
You are just a light.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Of course. And if you guys want to watch the videos I did with Skye before, I will put them on the screen right now. The grape cleanse and how raw foods changed her life. Go follow Skye. I'll put everything down below. Give this channel a subscribe for more awesome content like this one. And we will see you in the next one. Bye, guys. Love you.